Hi there, it's Jen from modernmedicinelady.com and the Empathic Woman System, and the word of the day is adrenaline. So, my day started when I went downstairs into my main living area and I looked over to the west wall where the baseboard heaters are, and I saw my cat Vivian just sitting there hanging out, and then I noticed that there was a little mouse sitting right next to her. I mean, not even 2 inches away. And it wasn't like they were playing cat and mouse games, and it wasn't like Vivian was chasing the mouse or trying to catch the mouse. It was like they were long lost BFFs that had just gotten reunited and they were hanging out having a tea party. And so Vivian's just like, hey, and the little mouse is like, hi. And I was like, oh my God, Vivian, you are useless when it comes to mousing. And I will just say that my 3 cats are the worst mousers on the planet. They literally do not know what to do with a mouse. They think that when the mouse comes into our house that it's some buddy that's just hanging out, and that's all fine and good. But anyway, I digress, although I don't really digress because this leads to the story about adrenaline. So after a little while, the mouse ran around the house and it got itself cornered in a situation where I was able to grab it by the tail, put it in a cardboard box, and bring it outside and put it someplace where hopefully it will be okay, and hopefully it will be not inclined to just run right back into our house, because I know they are inclined to do that. But anyway, I brought it outside, and as I came back inside, I noticed that I felt like I had been hit by a Mack truck. And what I realized was that I was feeling really anxious, I was feeling really stressed, and I just had this cascade of adrenaline running through me. And I looked at my husband David and I said, this is not mine. I picked up the fear and the terror of this little creature, and I'm feeling it in my body right now. And as a highly sensitive empathic person, it's really easy to pick up the emotions and the intensity and the feelings of other people. But I think that when it comes to adrenaline, it adds a whole other level to it, because it's this hormone that our body is releasing. And when we are around other creatures that are releasing that hormone, I think it's very natural for our bodies to start releasing it too. So as I recognized that this was not my adrenaline, or at least it was not originally my adrenaline, my adrenaline was coursing and had gotten triggered by it, but that it wasn't really my fear that had started this whole thing, I was able to start calming myself down. But even with that, it took about an hour for my body to settle back down after being exposed to that intensity. And so interestingly, this was not the only conversation I had about adrenaline today, because then as I came in to do some work with a client, I had a second conversation with her about how lately things have been super, super stressful for her. And she feels like she is basically jacked on adrenaline 24/7 right now, where it's like everything is setting off that adrenal response, and she is just going from one thing to the next thing in this state of sort of like reactive, like startle. And her startle mechanism is just constantly going off. So like anything, a noise, a light, the sound of sirens outside, somebody walking into her place of work and asking her a question, like everything is just making her go from 0 to like 1,000 in like a split second. And so we were talking about how when we get into these places of incredible stress, that especially in modern day society, it can be really hard because we don't have any way of effectively rebooting our systems and stopping that adrenal cascade, at least not naturally. Because back in the days when we were first around as human beings, the way that the system worked was that we had a threat like a woolly mammoth or a saber-toothed tiger or somebody from a warring village with a club. And when we knew we were threatened, we would either flee or we would fight. And the thing is, we would run off that energy. We would exert the energy. We'd burn off all that extra adrenaline. And then when we got ourselves out of harm's way, we would be calm again. But the problem is nowadays, the kinds of threats we're experiencing are nasty texts from ex-boyfriends or ex-girlfriends, and like stressful news announcements about bombings that are happening across the planet, or a bill that is really high that we weren't expecting coming in the mail, or a really difficult phone call from somebody giving us some bad news. And the thing is that we do not distinguish between that kind of threat and the woolly mammoth. Our bodies are still responding to the threat as if it is a physical thing that we need to protect ourselves from. But the thing is, it's not a physical thing that we need to protect ourselves from, and so we're not doing things to reset the system. And so what ends up happening, like with my client, is that the cascade just keeps going more, and like the adrenal cascade just keeps going on and on and on. And it's kind of like a car that's idling where it just keeps revving higher and higher and higher. And until something happens, like you hit that accelerator and you can punch it and reboot it, it just keeps going higher and higher. It's like the valve or the switch has been turned on permanent on, and we are getting that message, danger, Will Robinson, danger, 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 and it's never shutting up. And so I was talking with her about how the thing is that it doesn't happen that way overnight. It's one little stress after another, after another, after another, that sort of wears the switch to stay on. And so the recovery of this is not something that happens overnight either, because we have to retrain our fight or flight responses. We have to retrain the way we deal with stress, and we have to teach our systems how to handle it from a place of calm and staying relaxed, and also how to reboot our system when we do have those spikes of adrenaline. And that is not something that you can just fix overnight. That is something that takes practice and effort. Now, there's two things that in my experience work really well for this rebooting of the adrenaline. One is actual movement, like, doing some running or dancing or just shaking it off, or some other kind of really, really intense, strenuous activity to just moving your body. I mean, sometimes not even strenuous, just like go out for a walk, shake your body, move around, just let yourself be in your body and burn off that adrenaline. And that's the old-fashioned way. That's the way that we've handled it for thousands and thousands of years. The other system that I find works really well is using EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or tapping, which is a system that I've been working with for a number of years and I love. And what I love about it is that it's a way to allow ourselves to calm down, and it's a system that we can teach ourselves to use, but that also over time teaches our entire nervous system how to respond to things in a really different way, so that eventually we're not in this cascade of adrenal response 24/7. And but it is something that practice makes perfect, and also the more we do it, the more our system learns how to work with it and learns how to handle stress in a completely different way. So right now my question to you is, are you finding yourself really in that situation where your adrenaline is just coursing and coursing and coursing? And if that is the case, do you know how to reset it? Do you know how to reboot it? Have you figured that out? And what do you do to take care of yourself? So I would love to hear what you have to say about it. Leave a comment below. And I'm also going to invite you right now to check out a tapping video that I have created for helping you to calm your body down. So I'm going to leave a link below for my YouTube channel, Jennifer Moore, Modern Medicine Lady, which, by the way, please go subscribe. I would be ever so grateful for you to do that. But also, I've got a tapping video that's going to be below this video that you can check out and experiment with. And like I said, try it more than once, because in order for it to really work, you need to do it again and again and again and again. And then miracles, honestly, miracles can happen. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about all of this. And until next word of the day, I'm wishing you peace, I'm wishing you ease, and I am wishing you freedom from the intensity of that adrenaline cascade and the ability to reboot the system when you need to. So in the meantime, like I said, go over to my YouTube channel, Jennifer Moore, Modern Medicine Lady, subscribe to it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.